Honk.
What is up, Cobra Kai fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a special guest, Grod, the man Grod who played JUAN from Cobra Kai Season 3. Grod, how's it going, my man?
Going well. Thank you for having me.
No,
Absolutely.
My absolute pleasure. Can't wait to talk to you about Season 3 and your character, and of course your scenes with Zabka and Bobby. I mean, love those scenes, man. They were so awesome. So, like, before we get into Season 3, like, let's talk about, you know, your audition process. Like, how was that for you?
That was great. You know, it started with a text. It all started with a text from Ken Bearfield. Ken Bearfield is the guy that plays the right-hand man. You know when they do the flashbacks?
Oh yeah.
And then they show Jesse Cove, and he has like his right-hand man in the diner.
Yeah.
That guy there is a very talented stuntman. He's the guy that's just laughing it up and being an asshole, being a bully. That guy's Ken Bearfield, and he's a very talented stuntman, well known and respected. So it started with a text from him. He basically is part of the core stunt team for Cobra Kai. And he texted me. He's like, "Are you available on whatever dates the you know the blockout dates were?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna send your stuff over to casting for an audition for Cobra Kai." And I was like, I look at the phone, Cobra what? And I'm like, I forget. I think I was on a treadmill or something. So you know, I'm like, let's go. You know, I don't give a shit whether it's Cobra this, Cobra that. We're typically ready to go. Tell me where to fall. Tell me if I'm going through a window. Tell me who I'm punching. If I'm dying here, I'm dying there. Just tell us where to show up. So I'm like, yeah, cool, let's do it. So then I got the sides in the email from casting, and they're like, hey, can you turn this around? I think it was a quick turnaround. I think it was like the next morning, and I got them in the evening. And by that time, I had done a little research because I'm like, this Cobra, I looked at it again, Cobra Kai. So I Googled, and I'm like, oh, shit.
It's a big deal.
Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Well, a big deal. It was a big deal for me. I didn't know anything about the Cobra Kai show at the time. You know? It was already out on YouTube, and I had no idea what, anything about the show, the success, anything about it. It was a big deal to me because it was Karate Kid, and I was a big fan. So I didn't even remember who Johnny was. So when I basically did the audition, at that point, right before then, I Googled again, and I liked, let me see who I'm communicating with, and I'm like, oh shit, this is the bully. This is like, he encompasses the typical bully. He's the epitome of the school bully.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And it all came back to me. I was moved from 3 different middle schools as a kid. I was bullied a lot. I actually couldn't go to school on my birthday. I would be thrown around in the locker. I'd have my shirt brought over and then spun around, so I didn't know which direction was which. I know I'm going off on a tangent here.
No, keep going, man.
Okay. They used to call me Dumbo because of my ears. So I was able. I'm so glad that I looked up to make sure who exactly Johnny was, because when I did the audition, I became that kid that was bullied during my youthful years. And Daniel, I was able to relate to him, the bullying and all that, because that was me. And bullying back in the day, in the I won't age myself, but back in the day, it wasn't what it is today. Bullying, there's a no tolerance bullying type of thing in America, and it has been like that. It has been like that for years. So I put it on tape, and even though as actors and performers, we have to some degree during the audition process, you have to envision stuff. And I've been doing this long enough where I start envisioning, like almost like the Matrix, everything, all the elements that I'm. I right before we go on the self tape, it just starts dropping in like a VR experience. And that VR experience during my audition became even more vivid because I was able to see Johnny there, and he embodied everything in all the bullying that I had experienced as a child, as a young kid in school. So I knew when I was done with that audition, I felt very confident that I had it. I felt very confident, because there was a little bit of that kid in me. So I don't know. I think like soon after that, I got the heads up from my agent. They're like, "Hey, you booked it." I was like, "All right, cool." So that was how that came about.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I like that you could like personally relate to the Karate Kid. It wasn't just something I grew up with. Like, I feel a lot of people like the Karate Kid for that reason. It's like a lot of people have gone through a similar situation with the way they were treated in school, or just generally with a group of people. And Zabka, honestly, like you were saying, he was the epitome of a school bully, like you said. Couldn't have said that better. And the way they sort of changed his character in Cobra Kai was quite interesting. Yeah. And I love the way they sort of in Karate Kid, it was very, you could tell who was who, who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. But in Cobra Kai, it's like they changed that with the morality of these characters. How do you feel about the way they presented Johnny and then Daniel in Cobra Kai in comparison to the Karate Kid?
I think it was great. I obviously at the time when I shot this a year and a half ago. Because obviously everything got delayed because of the switching in the platform and all that. So at the time that I shot it, I saw it on, I think I borrowed somebody's like YouTube premium account or something like that. Cause I was like, what? There's a scripted show on YouTube? I'm like, what is that? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, I was like pleasantly surprised. I felt like in the beginning, like, don't touch it. Like, I'm glad that I'm getting booked for this and I'm working this, but I was like, I feel like protective, as some of us do with Back to the Future, Karate Kid, some other ones.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't touch it. You're gonna F it up. You're gonna F it up. You're gonna F it up, and then you're gonna F it up, and I'm like, oh wow. We like a underdog coming up. We like an underdog, a really, really underdog, because he got beaten down very far. We like them coming up and succeeding. I loved how they portrayed the snooty Daniel-san, snooty, uppity, successful, his life really really put together nicely. The big house, the beautiful wife, and then portraying Johnny where he is. It was just, I mean, hats off to the writers and the creators too. Listen, you could have had all the talented people that you have in that show to make the show happen. But I don't think if it was told differently, I don't think it would have been that successful, because we're able to relate and sort of cheer on the underdog. Right. The only funny thing and difference here, an interesting thing is that we're cheering on and hoping for the underdog to succeed, and it happens to be a goddamn bully, the epitome of a bully. So it's tricky. It's tricky, and guess what? They succeeded in making us undo that sort of, you know, hate towards that school bully, and then come around 33 years or 30 years later and start cheering for this guy and looking at this guy at this show and be like, yeah, you go, Johnny. You know, and doing, all right, you go. Even me, you know. So I think it was just phenomenal, honest.
I love the, like you were saying, the way John, Josh, and Hayden turned around the character, because when I first saw Cobra Kai on YouTube, I was like, okay, this is Karate Kid. Because I started putting two and two together, looked into the characters in the same present day, and I'm like, oh, okay, because I know there's been a history of 80s shows and movies just getting, you know, totally ripped off and not achieving the success they originally did. So yeah, I was very like 50-50 on it at first. And then after a few episodes, I was like, they've totally convinced me on the way Johnny is. He's obviously very misunderstood. And you can see that there's a clear miscommunication between the characters. And for me personally, it always made me think, if someone did, you know, sort of pick on me, I mean, what if their life was quite bad at home and I didn't know about it? You know, you're so young at the time, you don't think like that, but it always makes you think, like, in your life, like, what if it was something there you didn't realize? And I like how that sense of realism is always in the show. Like, it never seems to be unrealistic in terms of how character goes through life. And that's what I like about the show as well. It's so consistent. So yeah, so obviously you brought up Johnny, and, you know, the way Johnny and Daniel have come back, and it's great how they brought that nostalgia too, and constantly referring to the 80s. What was it actually like meeting Zabka for the first time?
It was great, honestly. I think we were at the bar, at the actual bar where he was sitting, where he was sitting there having that conversation about the beer. I think it was Course Banquet or something like that. Bobby and I were sitting right there, and he came behind us. And it's funny because he kind of like surprised us. He just came, and nobody, like a PA, didn't come to us and say, hey, they're on their way here. And it was Zabka and the the big three, Josh, Hayden, and John. And he said, hey, what's up, guys? He was so nice, man. He was so nice. It made me angry. He was so nice. Like, I'm like, I want this guy to be a douchebag.
Yeah.
I want this guy to be an asshole. No, man. Let him come in being an asshole to me, so then I can strengthen my product. If this dude comes behind me and he doesn't introduce us, and he's cold and he's an asshole, it's gonna really strengthen my character. Let's go. No, man. No. He comes in with a big old smile. He's like, hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Like we barbecued we just barbecued the night before. You know what I'm saying? All of them were extremely kind. So of course I got to go back in the mental lab and be like, okay, Zabka's nice, good guy, good. But when they call action, I still got to tap into Johnny. And you know, I'm in the mental lab like this. Fuck him. Zabka's like, hey man, what's up? You doing good? I'm like, fucking yeah, man, great. Johnny, oh my God. Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny.
He's like, hey, was I too rough with everything good? I was like, yeah, man. Yeah. Fucking stop being nice. Just Johnny. It was crazy. It was like truly like a switch that I had to do, because this guy is so nice. Yeah. And so accommodating. You know, we're stunt performers. Obviously, you know, we got to bring the acting to life, right? Like any other actor. But we're there for a reason. We're performing something that's risky and it carries some level of danger. Yeah. So you know, after the stuff that was that was physically involved, he would come check with us. Literally, they'd be like, cut. He'd be like, hey man, you're good. That worked for you. Do you need me to So, there was that kind of process that I had to keep switching back and forth because I'm in a way. I don't want to see I'm full blown method because when they yell cut,
Yeah.
I'm back. But I bring mentally, I'm bringing it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like
But
I
yeah,
always
to
ask
answer your question, it was a complete pleasure working with. What's that?
I've always asked this to actors, stunt performers, like, what's their, how do they channel that, like, that zen, that zone to get into it? And I love the way you describe that, because, like, yeah, you meet in Zabka and you're like, I'm supposed to be hating on Johnny, and like, Zabka's like, hey man, like, you're like, yeah, constantly switching. That can obviously make it harder, but then when the hit comes to the scene, you probably get even more angry because you're like, this guy's so nice, but then he's going to be playing an arsehole right now, so.
That's
I
right.
like that. It must have been quite a funny experience for you.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean that I love the way you and Bobby just pretty much take the piss out of him, and he's so
Thank
drunk.
you.
Like, it's that chemistry with you guys. I loved it. And are you an actual LA Dodgers fan then?
I am. I'm not a non-fan. I'm just not a look. Full disclosure. I'm not a sports fan at all.
Oh wow.
I play racquetball. I love racquetball, but I'm not a sports fan at all. I think at one point, so when he comes and approaches us, and at one point, I kind of ignore him, and then I'm focused on the TV because they're having a goal, a home run.
Yeah.
They're scoring something. I'm joking, but I'm really not. It's baseball, so it's a home run, and so we did like a first take or maybe like two takes.
Yeah.
And I forget who came up to me, whether it's John or Hayden. One of them came up to me, and they're like nicely trying to put it to me like, all right, so this is what's happening, because I wasn't having like the right reaction, So that the guy's gonna hit the ball. He's gonna run from this space to this space, and
They have to properly explain it.
Yeah. So here's because there's nothing on TV. The TV's a blank screen. Yeah. So there's a guy running from here to here. This guy's gonna hit a ball with his bat. Like they were quick to realize that I don't know what the fuck's going on. And I'm like, okay, I got the mechanics. So then I was able to have that build up reaction to the ball headed in the right direction. And I presume the right direction which is referred to as a home run, which is leaving the stadium.
Pretty much, yeah. So like basically they can't get the ball. It's so far out, like it's your home run. That's why they call it that, yeah.
Right. So that's where that buildup I was able to, and I'm glad that they came up to me because then I'm able to even though if I'm not a baseball fan, I'm able to establish in my mind what's going to happen for me to have that buildup and for me to play off, which ended up working great after that because I'm like, oh, there it is. Whoa, there's a goal. I'm sorry, there's a strike. I mean, there's a home run.
Yeah.
I'm
actually surprised you're not into sports because, of course, like right before we went live, we were just discussing about, fitness, and I was saying like, being a stunt performer as well, you obviously train a lot. So,
right.
Before we get into specifics on being an actual stunt man, like what inspired you to get into that kind of acting?
That's a great question. So before so I started this whole journey in 2009. Okay. And the reason why I got into it is because I kept getting stopped like at the airport and different places, and people like Subway, people saying, hey, was that you in the fight last night? I was like, no. or you know, they'd stop me and be like, "Hey, can I get your autograph?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I saw, you know, I'm a big fan. I saw your fight." I was like, "What?" Meanwhile, I have nothing to do with the UCF or you know,
or UFC.
UFC, UCF.
Oh yeah.
With fighting or with MMA or any capacity, right?
Right.
So then I remember one of the last things that I think the saying is that they broke the camel's back or whatever. I'm at the airport and this father with his kid stops me and I'm like, "Hey, what's up? Hey, do you mind if we get if I get a picture of my son?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, we saw your fight last night."
Who did they mistake
like,
you for?
All right, look, I have no idea. Latin fighter, and they say different names, so it wasn't just one. So he's like, "Yeah, I saw your fight last night." I was like, "That wasn't me." And he's like, "Oh, I see. That's how we're playing it. Okay, no worries. You know, cool. We'll keep it cool. Hey, Johnny, whatever his name was, the son, get in there. I'm like, "Yeah, look, dude, I'll take a picture with your son, but you're gonna be disappointed. Smile, say cheese." I'm like, "Dude, I'm not who." All right, whatever. And this happened, you know, like continuously, like maybe 6 times. So at that point, I'm like, I got to do something with this. I was in the real estate world, and I wasn't thrilled, passionate about what I was doing. Right. So I'm like, what can I do to? Oh, so right around this time, I started. It was around the time that I was actually exploring being a border patrol agent.
Right.
And this is a funny story. I wanted to be a border patrol agent, and then they have an oral presentation. I passed the written, and then you go to the oral interview, and then long story short, they're asking you, they're running scenarios by you, and they want you to tell them how you would react and respond. Well, guess what? Yeah. I thought they meant for me to act it out. So I have 3 very intimidating officers, law enforcement, border patrol, veterans in front of me, and I got up off my chair and I started acting it out like it was a goddamn audition. I'm like, all right, so whatever, I'm calling for backup, whatever. They dropped 2 guys with ropes. I'm like, get on the floor, put the bag down. And they're like, all right, so over there you got a car that's coming in. I need backup right now. I started like acting out the whole goddamn thing. At the end, they started looking at each other like, I'm done. I didn't pass the oral interview. I'm fucked. You know, I'm done. And they're like, well, you passed, but in the 30 years that I've been doing this, I've never seen somebody act it out. We just wanted you to explain how you would handle it. I'm like, wow. Okay, but I passed. It was wild. It was wild. So around this time, I'm like, you know what? And I hadn't heard back from Border Patrol. I'm like, what can I do where I can be all these different things? You know, Border Patrol agent, where I can be a fighter, where I can do, you know, that I can do all these different, and acting came up. And then I auditioned first for Burn Notice, which is back in the day in Florida. I started my journey in Florida. And Graceland. These are shows that are no longer they're done. So, and all I kept booking was bad guys, goons, and stuff like this. So I'm like, cool. I don't care. Like earlier on, I was like literally like, what can I do to look nicer? Like I wasn't capitalizing off of it. It was actually a little bit insulting. You know, like if you look at my eyebrows, I'm sitting here talking to you. I'm happy. I'm in a good mood. But if I'm just talking to you right now without expressing any emotion, I look angry. Look at this.
Yeah, that resting
because
face.
My eyebrows are pointy. The resting face, and it doesn't take much for me to even go a little further. You know, like all I don't have to. You know, most people that look nice like you, look at those charming good looks. You have to go a little step further. You got to be like, oh my god, you know, yo, fuck, you know, raise your voice and that sort of thing. I literally have to be like, all I got to do is be like, you're dead, amigo. You know,
You just switch in between.
That's
like
it.
you just that's amazing
it.
though. That's
I don't
amazing.
have to go too far. So I started capitalizing it, and it helped my self-esteem because I'm like, all right, so I don't have to look. I don't have to look for ways to not look to not look mean, because it doesn't do well for the girls. I ain't picking up hotties left and right. I roll up on a girl, she thinks I'm gonna jack her. She's tucking in her purse. She's tucking in her purse very tight as I get her. This happens all the time. Yet still, I'm like, honey, you know what, honey? You're probably safer having me around, but screw you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a nice guy. I'm a teddy bear. Fucking.
Then you go, you're dead of me. You go, just switch on them.
Yeah. Switch it up. You know what? If that guy was gonna rob you, I'm gonna leave your ass, and I'm still gonna help you. I'm kidding. And I'm like a super nice guy. So now I'm successful doing this. I was able to give up my full-time job, and I'm doing this full-time. So now, instead of me running from it, I'm embracing it. So if I look mean and you don't like me, screw you. I'm making a living off of this face.
Exactly. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Like, I think it's I feel like it's what you said there is very important though. Like sometimes with what you have, you got to embrace it. You can't run away from it. You've got to find a very smart way maybe of making it an asset, if you like, So in a way, your face is an asset to you. It's not, this ain't just my face. This is the face of success, if you like, And
Absolutely.
It's
all part of good mental health, because I even had a couple appointments that I set up where I wanted to go talk to a doctor because and see what I could do in terms of medication, because I was feeling depressed and everything. It starts stacking on you, man. It starts wearing on you. Where people are tucking in their purse. I'm laughing about it now because I'm making a living off of it. It's great.
Yeah.
But many times, I'd have families that are walking out of the mall, turn around and be like, pretend that, oh, honey, come here. Let's look at this sign. Look at this for sale sign. Look how interesting this for sale sign. Let's let that scary guy walk through. They're grabbing their kids, and this happened to me numerous times.
Yeah.
And as far as chicks are concerned, even in a social setting, it took time for me to break down the barrier for them to get to know me make them laugh, for them to be like, oh, you know what, you're a funny guy, you want to take me out to dinner? You say, okay, we can go to dinner. Because in the beginning, they're like, oh, this guy's a maniac.
Yeah.
So that started wearing on me. So I either embraced it, or or I let it sink me deeper in a depression, in a hole. So yeah, people need to embrace who they are. Look in the mirror and be proud. Look in the mirror and look at stuff like these are your assets. Look, the fact of the matter is, I'm not getting any calls. My phone is not ringing at all for commercials. I mean, there was one time when I first got started that it was for like a flower company or something like that. I walked in, the guy's like, the casting director's like, all right, look, dude, we can, we can do the audition if you want, but I mean, look at you, this is, I'm literally, he's like looking at me like, he's like looking at me. Did you read the sides? You're knocking at this person's door, and you're offering roses. You're giving them roses, but they didn't order the roses. But since it's Valentine's Day, you're still going to give it to them. Yeah. He's like looking at me like, they're not going to open the door for you. Like, he kept it real with me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that was before I was even in the business for as long as I am today. And I'm still not getting calls for commercials. I ain't knocking on nobody's doors on any commercials anytime soon. UPS ain't calling me. Honda, Toyota, they ain't calling me. Fucking chips commercials, they ain't calling me. But now, product placements, they ain't calling me. But now I don't give a shit because I'm doing what I do. This has now become an asset for me. I'm a bank off of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I love that. I'm just imagining you actually in a flower commercial, and you're like trying to be so like you're trying to really sell the flower to someone. They'd be like, people would be so distracted with the fact, like, yeah, the look and everything, like this
Yeah,
big guy selling me flower.
yeah. And he made
Oh
it such a
man,
point to make it clear. It's like, dude, in the commercial, it's got to be believable. They're not opening the door for you. Like this guy had
yeah,
this casting director wasn't holding back at all. He was just throwing the punches. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, savage, straight up.
I still know who he is now, and that was in the beginning of my career. Now I should send him a note with flowers, be like, "Go." I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm having fun.
you should say,
We're
have
having
you
fun.
seen? Oh, have you seen Cobra Kai by any chance? Yeah. Check out what I did to this guy in the show, and you'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously that's a really cool story actually. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
About
Yeah.
the whole way you started to act. It's really interesting that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on a general basis, like being a stunt performer, how often do you train at the gym?
Very often. Right now, I'm working on a show. It's a Netflix show. It's a huge show. Very exciting, but I'm self quarantined right now. I actually cannot leave my quarters. Everything has to be delivered to me. So I'm living off Quest bars, sweet potato chips. So right now I'm not training too hard because there's a period of quarantine before I start filming on Monday.
Right.
But if I wasn't, I'm in the gym. They have here I have here a little setup. I have a little treadmill or whatever that's isolated just for me, but it's not the same. I'm in the gym in a full facility. I can say where I'm working out. You probably never heard of this. LA Fitness. It's
I've heard of it.
it's natural. Okay, cool. So that's where I typically work out, and I'm in the gym 5, 7,
nice.
6 days a week. Hitting it hard, and hitting the ground. That's from the fitness standpoint. Staying in shape is important because this is what sells. I have to be. I'm sitting right now at 238 pounds. So size matters because in this case, size sells, right? I can't have this mean face and walk in at a buck 25.
Right.
So I have to find that balance where I'm big enough where I can continue playing that mean guy, but I stay agile. At the very minimum, I'll have I'll have a cardio day if I'm dealing, if I'm hanging out with my kids or stuff like that, and do some cables at home. But no, it's a part of our lifestyle, and it has to be consistent. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, yeah. I can relate to the how demanding fitness is in the sense that you need to keep on your nutrition, your your plan. You can't lose that groove, and obviously sometimes it's out of your control, like you were saying with sort of quarantine, or there's a lockdown. But like we were saying as well, even before like the interview, that it's important to stay healthy as well in the mind. So this isn't just a just a job for you. This is also like something you do anyway to stay healthy and stay stress free, right?
Absolutely. If I'm stressed, the general public stressed because I'm out there buying ice cream. I'm out there buying food, and I'm out there in grocery stores. I'm out there at bars, and you don't want me to be stressed.
I love it. Someone literally, as we were talking about all of that, someone comments, "He looks so angry." Tell him why he looks so angry.
But literally, I could literally be here like.
Yeah, you could be chilling and someone being so angry. I love that. That's funny.
Lose you? You there?
Yeah, I'm there. I can hear you.
Okay. A call came in. I had to cancel it. But I'm literally just looking
damn.
at you eating a fucking potato chip, and I look like I want to kill you.
Oh man,
I see.
You honestly,
I see.
that is such a funny thing to have though. Like you honestly you could literally use that to your advantage to like make jokes and stuff, like scare the shit out of someone, you know?
But here's the thing. It's funny when it's funny, but it's not funny when it's not. Like I was at a T-Mobile store. Oh damn it.
Yeah.
Never mind. I can't. I actually got the name wrong. I was at a bakery. I was at a bakery store. Yeah, that's what it was. I was at my bad. Let me clarify for the record. It was a bakery store.
Bakery.
I was at a bakery store. Yeah, I was at a bakery store, and I ordered a piece of a piece of pie, and they gave me the wrong pie because when I tasted it, it was the wrong taste.
Yeah.
I never raised my voice. Yeah, of course I was disappointed. So I said to the guy, I'm talking low. See, and that's the crazy thing. The lower I get, the scarier it gets.
Yeah.
So I said, sir, this isn't the pie that I ordered. And then we had a little conversation, and then I'm like, here's what you need to do. You see that pie right there? I need you to give me my pie. Dude.
Oh my God, man. I bet he shot himself.
And then he said, something like, well, you already took a bite out of it. If you knew it wasn't the right one, you shouldn't have taken a bite out of it, right?
Yeah.
And I said something like, I'm not leaving here until I get my pie. No joke. 10 minutes later, 3 officers are behind me. 2 of them have their guns, have their hands on their gun like this. And I just turned around. I'm like, and I looked at him and I'm like, you call the police? He's like, I felt my life was in danger. So the cop realized, I've never shared this before. The cop realized that he's like, dude, are you serious? So he takes his hand off the gun.
Yeah.
Because he realizes that I'm not posing a threat. And he says to the guy behind the counter, why don't you just give him the pie?
He must have felt so embarrassed at that point. Like,
and the guy's looking at the cop like, you're supposed to have my back. and he's looking at him. The cop's looking at him. There's obviously clearly one that was in charge because the other ones just took their hands off the other guy took his hand off his gun. He's like, all right, there's nothing here. And the guy is looking so confused behind the counter, like, yeah, like what the F do you want me to do? You want me to shoot him because of a pie? Well, guess what? That story ended. Guess how that story ended? He did not give me that piece of the pie. And I actually had a call from the owner of that bakery chain. The owner of that bakery chain called me and gave me a gift certificate for a lot of pies, and he was embarrassed for that employee who they rewound the footage, the surveillance footage, and they fired his ass.
Wow, what an arsehole, man.
Like I said, it's funny when it's funny, or when I'm capitalizing off of it. But I could have gotten shot, and that shit would not have been funny under that a piece of pie.
Shit could have got serious real quick.
It could have escalated very quickly. So it's that seriousness that I bring that I now embrace, obviously with open arms, because listen, when I said you're dead, amigo, I'm not yelling. I'm not huffing and puffing. You know what I'm saying? And that's the simplicity that I bring, that I look like a fucking maniac. I'm simply saying, you're dead, amigo. And I mean, you can rewind it. I'm like chilled. you know, most people like that look nice, like charming, good looks with like you can't just pull that shit off.
That.
You gotta be like, yeah, you're getting the ladies. I'm not. You gotta be like huffing and puffing. You're like, you're dead, amigo. You know, that sort of thing. You know?
Right. It's funny because I feel like it, you know, that's a crazy story. I mean, in America, it's obviously going to be more crazy because, you know, police have guns and stuff. But I remember one time, like, I generally I was in a coffee shop with my brother, and like literally, so basically, we had a friend that worked there, and he said, come in at like, you know, near closing time. I can get you like, you know, we got some food that we always truck out. You can have, you know, if you have some, you know. And we wanted to see him anyway, but he just said that. But we just wanted to get coffee, and we were like, all right, we'll come when everyone's gone because then we can actually talk to him. And there was this one guy there, this ginger dude. He was on his laptop. Apparently, he was a regular. And I literally sat there for about probably like 10, 15 minutes, just chatting to my brother, chatting to my friend there. And he should have left anyway because it was closing time. And then right as he's about to leave, he starts just wising up out of nowhere, going, "Oh, you're talking so loud. You know how obnoxious it is to me." And I'm like, "What the fuck's this guy problem?" And like, I mean, he found me intimidating as he probably would with you, like in the way you weren't even trying to be intimidating. He obviously just took it personally, right? And I was talking in the exact way I'm talking to you now. And I literally just was in shock. Like, what's wrong with this guy? And he kept saying, like, this guy shouldn't be allowed back in. He's ridiculous. He's so obnoxious. And my mate that worked there, he was like, I know you're a regular, mate, but you got to calm the F down. Like, this guy hasn't done nothing wrong. And I mean, some people are just like to complain, don't they? Yeah,
and that's going to happen. You're not going to please everybody. I've learned, and I've learned, you know, in the age of social media, everybody's gonna, it doesn't matter how sweet anything is, they're always gonna find something to complain about. You know, it's just life, whether it's social media, whether it's in person. But it does have its advantages. I get what you're saying, but you know, and that guy's a douche, and I've come across people like him all the time. But it does have its advantages. Like there was a time when I'm not sure if they have Subway over there, like the chain.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love Subway.
Okay. So I was in a Subway line one time, and you ever been in a line where you're like, where the line kind of may be a little bit fuzzy, and then wait.
Oh yeah.
Were you in front of me? Were you in front of me?
Yeah, you just gotta make sure with someone. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, Bob, were you know, hey, how you doing, sir? Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you. You know, you do the courteous thing, right?
Yeah.
This wasn't one of them. This wasn't one of them. This was a line, and you knew who was in front of you, and you knew who was behind you.
Right.
This guy in front of me looked kind of nervous, and he offered for me. I'm sorry. Do you want to go in front of me? Like I made him so nervous. He's just like out of the blue. Do you want to go in front of me? I was like, no, I'm cool. Okay, but if you change your mind, you can go ahead of me. It's like,
yeah.
And I forget that I don't look like a big old teddy bear. I forget. And I was like, oh shit, he was scared. This grown man wanted to give up his spot in line, you know, to grab his lunch just because. So I guess the gist is, you know, the thing here is you cannot judge a book by its cover, you know, because I may look the way that I do, and guess what? I'm a big old teddy bear. It's those nice looking motherfuckers like you that you got to be scared about.
Man, thing is, I like that because I got such a life's strange though, you know, like it's just amazing how someone can you know, someone can think you're a really nice guy, and then they'll just think, oh, this guy, look at him, and then they don't realize how chill you are. Like I'm most of the time I'm chill. I'm not an angry person. You're not an angry person. But someone could think might look at me and think, oh, he looks like a nice guy. I could be an asshole. And then they look at you and they think, oh, he looks angry, but he's a nice guy. Like people just, you know, quick to judge. That's the problem.
Yeah, like I'm going to the crib. You want to come over and play Fortnite? and they look at you, and they run. If you say the same thing, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They think I'm going to take them home and chop them into little pieces, and it's probably going to be you. You look at those charming good looks. You're the one that's going to chop them up. I just want to take them to the crib and go play some Fortnite.
Exactly. Take them back to the crib, play some Fortnite.
I probably shouldn't have taken a pre-workout before this. I probably shouldn't have taken it.
Oh man, that's funny as hell. Man, I actually haven't taken a pre-workout in actually so long. Like, I think I had a bad reaction to one at some point. I mean, I've had them before, but this one specific pre-workout, I think I had the worst caffeine crash. I don't know if I didn't have enough water or it was food, but I did have enough water and food prior to taking that pre-workout, but it fucked me up, and I was like, oh man, like I remember getting so anxious and shit, man.
Oh yeah.
I'm guessing.
I love it. I just, just may have Twitch or two.
Oh, I love the tingling thing you get where you're like,
yes,
man, I'm so effing pumped with this session, and then you get to
that's
it.
Kicking in. That's kicking in right now. That's kicking in right now.
That's perfect. I'm so glad you have a pre-workout right now.
Where's Johnny right now? Where is Johnny? Johnny, where you at?
Johnny ain't got nothing right now. Oh man, that's
well, it's funny because if you think about it, I'm the only one that has handed in the Cobra Kai TV series or the Netflix series in all 3 seasons. Wait for it. I'm the only one that has handed Johnny a beatdown.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right?
There's a few people who've got like close, but they haven't really dispatched him clearly. There's been some sort of BS with it. But like Johnny came to you as well.
I'm the only one that has put him to sleep. Night night.
Oh my god.
Right? So
right.
I'm gonna roll with that. I'm gonna turn that into a trophy. Johnny's stomping.
A WWE belt. Just get a belt. Put that on.
Yeah. Just get a belt. Johnny stomping.
Freaking statue.
And the emblem right below Cobra Kai Johnny stomping season 3. The emblem is going to be my size 12 Jordans.
Oh man.
Man. Good times.
That speaking of that quote, "You're dead, Omega," was that improv or was that there was like other lines for that scene?
Good question. It's funny because that when I first got the script, that whole exterior scene was written differently. So basically, what the way it was originally written, he comes at us when I'm talking to Hector, and I'm making fun of the stuff that he shouldn't be doing in the shower.
Yeah.
Hector needs to come up with more productive activities to keep his hands busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So originally he smashes the window. Hector gives him that opportunity, question, what the hell are you doing? Whatever. And then obviously we know he says kicking your ass, and he misses that. We got Hector doing that Matrix. He backs off like it's the Matrix. Do you see that? Johnny takes that kick and it's like, he turned into Neo from the Matrix. So after he throws me on the ground, I say, llama la policía, which means call the police.
Yeah.
The police is in close proximity, the way it was written before, and they show up.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so they show up. I think that they were supposedly at the bar or outside. Here in America, I didn't see it that much in London, but here in America, typically when you have a spot that's going to cater to drunks and stuff like that, that's going to have potential situations fighting, they'll have a detail. So the way it was written, the cop shows up and he's like, "What's going on here?" And then I'm like, I point at Johnny. I'm like, this guy smashed my window. And the cop turns to Johnny and says, "Sir, I'm going to need to see some ID." And then Johnny's like, "You want to see some ID?" This is the way it was written. "You want to see some ID?" And he takes a swing at the cop.
Oh,
and
damn.
then and then the cop restrains him, and then me and Hector, Juan and Hector, are left looking at each other. And I believe that's where I say, you're done. It wasn't "you're dead, amigo." I was like, "You're done, amigo." There was that flavor in there of the line, like, you're done, amigo. You're going to jail, that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
So I love, obviously, and I'm really glad that the way that they decided to rewrite it,
Right.
because it had that extra oomph, that extra lights out.
Right.
It closed it very nicely, obviously, and then it cuts obviously into him in jail. So no, to answer your question, I digressed. But to answer your question, that was not improv. There were a couple lines that were improv. On my way out, when I hand him the remote, and I'm like, I toss it to him, and I said, "What a loser!" Que loser is Spanglish. Que loser, este gringo. That was improv, and what else was improv? When I say to him, when I tell him to change it, he tells me to change the TV. There's a little improv there. I'm like, this ain't yours, whatever. There was some improv in there. I just don't remember exactly what it was. But I played with the temperature that I felt that this character was coming from, Juan. And the reality of it was that we're there to have a good time. Juan and Hector are there to have a good time. They're chilling. And even though it ended the way that it did, and I think that Juan could have handled that last part a little bit differently. When you look at everything, it was really Johnny that stepped out of line. It was really Johnny's undoing, because we're at a sports bar. We're there to watch sports. After I got the remote, I went back to doing my thing. We're still chilling. I'm not gonna let this guy bully me, which is where I went mentally for that, and I'm not gonna back down from him. But I'm not gonna let him take up too much of my time. I'm gonna look at at the show. I'm sorry, at the goal. I'm sorry, at the home run. I'm sorry, at the strike. I'm gonna look at the baseball game. I'm gonna look at the baseball game, and he's right in front of me, and I'm still looking at the baseball game. It's my team. At that point, we have decided to leave and move on with life. It's him that then steps out of line, seeks us out, and like I said before, I could have handled it a little bit differently. But you'll see that I even asked for go call the police. Obviously, it should have stopped there. Go call the police. Maybe restrain the guy so he can pay for my window. But it is what it is. It wouldn't not had the same impact had I not told him "you're dead, amigo," and stomped his face.
Yeah,
right?
I agree, because I remember in season 1 when he jumps those bullies that are bullying Miguel.
Yes.
He basically, they throw Miguel on in his car. Then he gets involved, but then he's kind of like just defends Miguel. And then the cops come in, pepper spray, and they think he's the one that jumped them, but they jumped him. Although he did kick Kyler in the face, he was doing the right thing. Those guys were being assholes and they were picking on someone. If they kind of did that again, where I don't know, if he got into a fight and then cops just come and arrest him, it would have felt like the same thing. So I'm glad that you and Bobby in that scene were like, you took it into your own hands, and then you said, call the police, and then you're dead, amigo, that scene. And then I like that whole transition, and it just makes it shorter and more sweet in that way, and it did work more effectively.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what, these guys are, they're great at what they do. They laid it out, and here's the character that we needed to bring to life. And to be honest with you, they, other than the notes about, you know, the sports game, I think it's called baseball.
Yeah.
Other than those notes, they let me bring the character to life how I felt I needed to how I felt he was someone that I could bring to life and be real with. So that I appreciate. And I'll tell you one thing that you know, Zabka's, he's gangster, man. He pulled me out, he yanked me out of that car. I was like, you know, am I gonna have to, you know, because we work with celebrities all the time. We work with you know, people that, you know, I've had, hey man, do you mind, you know, that take was great, but do you mind like taking it easier on me on the neck grab? It happens all the time. Do you mind, you know, that kind of hurt here? Do you mind, you know, doing this so that, you know, I don't, you know, they don't care if it doesn't sell. They're like, it's hurting them. And I get it. You know, we train day in and day out, you know, and Zabka was like, he's gangster, man. I think he's in his 50s. And they're like, I think it was John or Josh. They're like, hey, you may have to help him out. You know, I'm 240 pounds. I'm 240 pounds, dude. And Zabka doesn't weigh 240. And he's got to bring me out of that car. He's got to get that angle down, sell that power, that strength, that, you know, he's a badass. And they're like, hey, G-Rod, you may have to help him out, you know, to pull you out of there. There wasn't a lot of helping, dude. This guy was yanking me out of that goddamn car.
Damn.
Yeah, he brought it. So and then when he's on me here, you know, I think somebody said, hey man, you sold that shit looked real. I was like, that shit wasn't real. I didn't say that, but I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was actually surprised, because look, you know, I do this day in and day out, you know, and he's in his 50s, and I'm like, you know, I'm in my four something. I'm you know, I'm a little younger and everything, but I'm like, I'm gonna have to take it easy with this guy. I'm gonna have to take it easy, make sure I don't hurt him. No, dude.
Right.
The dude was gangster. He was he kept it real. Yeah, I was, you know, yeah. So
that must have. It's just thinking of what you said earlier on, like with the fact he was being so nice. You know, when he wasn't playing Johnny, he was like saying hello as Zabka, not Johnny. And then that moment he yanks you out, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have showed no mercy to this bastard.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because Bobby and I know each other. We've worked on other stuff before. We're good friends, and you know, if you look at that, if you look at that shot in the car, we're shooting the shit. We're literally, you know, and that was towards the end of the day. We're like literally shooting the shit. We're like having a good time, whatever. We got so far into our zone when that window got smashed. We really were thrown off. You know, we really like, oh yeah, that's the take. You guys look like you didn't see it coming. You know, we're like, oh great. Bobby and I are looking at each other like, shit, I was scared. I didn't see it coming.
That's actually more immersive. I love that. That just makes it way more. Damn, man, that's mad.
I don't know what happened on that, because I remember what take that was that they used. I don't know what happened that it took a little longer for them to come in. We got lost in the dialogue. Him and I, Bobby and I are literally shooting the shit. And we were shooting the shit right before in the car because, you know, you got a little time. And I started making fun of him about that recreational stuff he's doing in the shower.
Right.
Off camera, like really incorporating some of that Hector and Juan onto him. So when they yelled, hold on a second, let me clear this. So when they yelled action, I was already laughing at him. And I knew we were still at work, but when that shit smashed, I was like, what the fuck just hit? I was like, whoa. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Oh shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh man, I love that. Oh, that's
So
actually like,
it's really
wow.
cool. Yeah, it's really cool when we can bring that authenticity.
Yeah.
Of into the whole thing, because the viewers clearly enjoyed it. The reception I've been getting, and Bobby, dude, it's been the Cobra Kai fandom is out of hand.
It is.
I had a
I
lady.
couldn't agree more.
I had a lady try to pull me over the other day as she's driving, just so her kid can get a picture. I was like, dude, you're gonna that's a green light. That's green light. You're gonna crash. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
And for us, for Bobby and I, because the fandom has embraced these guys' characters, right?
Yeah.
Characters of the show. But for him and I, it's just another day. We're doing our thing. We're dying. What are you doing? We're dying here. We're getting shot here, and then moving on. Okay, a squib here. We got to jump through that window. We got a pad over there. Let's go, and let's go again, and go again, and go again. And then you just move on to the next project. Now I'm on to another show, and so on and so on. But this thing has been like amazing, ridiculous.
Cobra Kai just got absolutely the respect it deserves once it hit Netflix, because I felt like it was highly underrated. After I binged it, I'm like, how the F is this show not on Netflix? And doing research, I realized it was always supposed to be on Netflix, but it didn't happen.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's mad. The show, it really did deserve to be on Netflix in the first place. So I mean, I'm just glad that it happened. The timing it did. It's obviously giving you and Bobby a lot more exposure, and that's probably funny for once. Like, you've been noticed without being mistaken to be a UFC fighter. Like, that's probably one of the first moments.
Yeah, or a criminal, or an inmate on the run.
Oh.
On.
Or someone that wanted pie,
or somebody that wanted pie, and the cops, should have been there to protect this bakery worker from this madman. It's been crazy, dude. I had somebody reached out to me on Facebook. They're like, hey, do you mind coming to my son's birthday, Cobra Kai birthday party? Do you mind making an appearance? How much?
Wow.
How much do we have to pay you? I was like, what? I was like, how do I go from people running away from me because I made, women tucking in their purses, that shit happens still, tucking in their purses, or men feeling like that, that they have to be on guard, to somebody reaching out to me on Facebook and knowing if I can do appearance at their kid's Cobra Kai birthday party. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Right. It must feel surreal for sure. Like, the reception you're getting, and I mean, Cobra Kai fans are so, they obviously, the more of a fan you are of a show, you're going to pay attention to loads of details, even if it's like a smaller character, or big or small, or whatever the role is. Like, even if they're like, oh yeah, it's that dude that people will know you as the guy that beat up Johnny, and that's going to stay with you forever. So you'll always have that honor, and that must be pretty cool to have that moment where someone recognizes you and you're like, oh, that's really cool. Like, someone recognized me, not just from anything else. It could be like a big moment from a show, although you weren't hardly in it. Like, it's cool to see that people will appreciate the smallest thing.
I'm loving the kids. The kids, it's cool. Because the kids, as you're a kid, you're typically, you don't hold back. Like, if you're happy about something, it's as we get older that we learn to kind of conceal our true emotions. So it's kind of cool to see these kids get excited, and their mom not tucking them away from this angry looking scary guy. Like, kids rolling, that's mind blowing to me. That's pretty cool. Like, having kids roll up to me and be like, oh, that's the guy that beat up Johnny. Mommy, can I get a picture?
It's great because this show has such a big appeal, like, it's from generation to generation. So it's cool that kids are really into the show as well. And I'll be honest, there's so many shows I feel nowadays that there's like good shows, but then there's shows that aren't on that level, you know. And Cobra Kai it's like my favorite show at the moment. I mean, it sounds biased, but this show, man, it's unreal what it's achieved and what it's done for Karate Kid, you know, to continue that without messing it up.
Absolutely.
But honestly, man, that's all from me. I'm not gonna lie. Thank you for coming on, G.
No, it's been a pleasure, man. You really
thanks for sharing all the stories. Love speaking to you. Thanks to everyone that joined the stream. I know loads of people who were commenting and stuff. But yeah, CKS, Gerald, Penelope, loads of people that Soham, loads of my regular viewers. Thank you guys for joining. G-Rod, I hope you enjoyed it as well, of course.
I did. This was therapeutic, man. You got me talking on the sofa, you know, about my life, how am I feeling. We should set up like weekly therapy, and I can PayPal you.
Love that, man. But no, honestly, I'd love to. Maybe we could set up something with you and Bobby, because I mean, I've been so busy at the moment, and I didn't really actually get in touch with him. But to have you both come on, we can definitely get something going with that.
We got some exciting stuff coming up. So let's see when we can talk about this stuff that's coming up that he has as well, and
yeah, cool.
And then we can share down the line here in 2021. That'd be great, man. Let's keep each other in mind.
Yeah, for sure. All right, awesome, man. Thank you for coming on. Have a good gym session. I'm gonna have some food and then get on this run.
Yes.
So thank you guys for joining, and I'll see you guys in the next video.